Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes. Hey, this is Mike with the Quivercasts, brought to you by quiverbuilder.com, an online community where you buy, sell, and surf for your next magic board. Good evening and afternoon, everybody. This is Mike at Quivercast, and we're sitting here with Phil, and I'm going to have Phil. You want to say your last name, Phil?
Sure, Antonopoulos.
Antonopoulos. We go back quite a few years. My son used to surf the contest, so Phil, let's start off in the beginning. When did you start surfing?
Way back. I started boogie boarding. Like the very first time I hit the water was we lived in Kauai, in Honolulu. And my dad introduced me to the water, jumped on a boogie board, just started boogie boarding at pine trees.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just so much fun. And I just immediately was like into the water.
How old were you?
I was 5 at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I was into the water. And so after we moved back to the mainland when I was 6, but we spent about 2 years there. Moved back here to Oceanside.
Okay.
I lived at my grandma's house for about a year. And then I would go down the beach with my dad anytime he would take me, just constantly, I was a young kid, just boogie boarding.
Just want to get wet and have
I just
fun.
want to get in the water, yeah. Like I love the sand, I love being dirty, I love being sunburned, like all this stuff. It was classic kid. And
did your dad surf?
No.
Yeah.
My dad boogie boarded too, which is like the funny thing. Probably the reason
Was he
why.
a serious boogie boarder?
No.
Or he just goes straight?
He had that Aussie, that foam bottom and the orange top. That thing would just bend like a little. It would just bend like crazy.
Yeah.
But classic tourist board, total Howley, right?
Okay.
And I just loved being in the water, and so over time, I actually became a serious bodyboarder from the age of 13 to 17 and was sponsored. Like went over to Hawaii to the U.S. Championships.
Really? Was this before or during the PSSA or after or what?
No, it was while that was going on. So the mid 90s. So I graduated high school in 95.
Okay.
But yeah, bodyboarded, was totally into it, and then
it was like you were like looking for a career with it, right?
Yeah, no, I totally thought like, hey man, I can be the next Mike Stewart, or Paul Roach or whoever.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I actually, all my really good friends surfed. I had 3 really good friends that I hang out with all the time, and they were all surfers, and they just razz me all the time. Like, every once in a while I could talk them into going up to the wedge with me, or going down to 10th Street in Laguna and just messing around the wedges, and they would hop on a boogie board. But a lot of times I spent time at trestles with them, and
on a boogie board.
Yeah, just that.
So how was that getting away?
Yeah, it was gnarly. Like in the 90s, it was pretty rough. I would just sit on the inside left. I didn't want to. I wasn't into causing trouble with people.
You're just getting leftovers.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Well, let's stop for. I want to go back with the boogie board. So my brother was like a full-on boogie board too.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to be a pro, but so I had people like Chad Barber at my house.
Yeah.
Like a lot, and then I can tell you a story. Him and my brother went to jail.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then Ron Zabel, you ever heard that
Yeah.
guy? Yeah, I know Ron real good.
Yeah, no, they're cool dudes, by the way. JP Caldwell, all the Quiet Classic boys, all this stuff. So they were a bunch of rad guys that were cool to hang out with. So it was a lot of fun.
Now, any of those guys, who are you looking up to? I gotta stay on the boogie board for a second, just for a second.
I know, right? It's classic. But no, I love Paul Roach, from Cardiff, Encinitas.
Okay.
He killed it, drop knee guy. Loved why he was in Momentum, in the original Momentum and Momentum 2. He was the only boogie boarder to ever crack a Taylor Steele movie, so that's that's got to say something, right?
That's huge.
Yeah. I just always admired him, and he was the guy who put all the posters up in my room.
Okay.
That was the guy. Him and Mike Stewart, the 2 guys that I would put posters up on my wall.
And Mike Stewart's still
he's still
boogie board, body surfing and everything. That guy's it.
Dude,
I have a Mike Stewart story too.
Yeah.
Real quick, it was 1 foot Seal Beach, and there's one boogie boarder out. It wasn't even worth going out for, but I got dropped off, so I had to surf. And dude, I was just burning the guy. I'm 13 or 14, and then I realized, I look over, I'm like, dude, that's like Mike Stewart.
Yeah.
It was. I was burning Mike Stewart.
You did great. I know, right? Boogie boarder, whatever. Get out of here.
All right, sorry.
But yeah, those are like all the guys I looked up to. I love watching the PSAAs, like listening to Pete Townsend and gosh, I always forget the other announcer's name. Mike Chamberlain, that's who it was.
Mike Chamberlain.
But
I don't remember that guy.
I used to video.
Did they announce the PT announced the boogie board and heat stuff?
Yeah, no, he did. They did everything, and so it was epic. Like I know them all. Like I recorded them like with my VCR when they would come on Prime Ticket.
Yeah.
And I recorded my VCR, man. I used to love. I mean, I've always loved competitive surfing, like just always, and it's just always been something I like.
All right, so let's go. You boogie board. When did you start stand up surfing?
So like I would do it occasionally because like all my friends would just razz me, right? Like, all right, come on, dude. Like enough with this, like. And at the time, boogie boarding was pretty popular, so like I was into it. But I would surf, and then I actually tried out for the Carlsbad surf team, and actually made the alternate final. So I
as a stand-up surfer.
Right,
now we're going full on stand-up.
And it was crazy. So I knew I could do it, but I still bodyboarded. I went on some trips. I went to Cabo, and then when I finally converted, I went to the North Shore for the first time when I was 19 with my best friend. We stayed at Tim Carroll's house. He's a really good shaper. He shapes boards for Bethany Hamilton.
Okay.
I know like a lot of guys in North Shore get boards from him, but I took out his son's board. Dang it, he actually ended up becoming a really good surfer when he got older. But I took this little tiny 5.8 out at Rocky Point, and I got barreled on a surfboard for the very first time, came out, and I was automatically hooked. I didn't understand why everyone got into, and I finally, I had a lot of good waves over there. I bodyboarded Waimea shore break, did that whole thing, and bodyboarded pipe and all that stuff. But when I got barreled at Rocky Point on a surfboard, I literally forgot to bring my boogie boards home. I had 3 of them over there. And Tim Carroll calls me, and he goes, dude, why did you leave all your boards here? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I literally forgot them.
No,
that's how much it just shifted. From that point on, I was sold. Like, surfing was it.
Okay. So, that transition at 19, that was it.
Yeah.
You're moving on.
Yeah.
Never went back? Do you still ever?
No.
You gotta be like Shorebreak Laguna or something.
No, it's funny. Like
there's certain waves that aren't meant to surf.
No.
They're meant to be boogie boarded or body surfed.
Yeah. So I went back and I've stand up paddled, like I've not stand up paddled, but like surfed the wedge.
Boo.
And then I've surfed another wave that I bodyboarded when I was younger, a place called Casas in La Jolla, which was like a really heavy wave. But I actually surfed it, and I was like, oh wow, like it was such a different experience.
Yeah.
Going back and paddling into waves stand up, like versus dropping in on your stomach. Like the speed, that's the thing. It hooked me. Like surfing is so much faster.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know bodyboarding's great for being around the actual like barrel part of the wave, and it is fun, but like the speed content, it's just not even comparable.
Yeah, they're different. But the wedge, I mean, there are guys that surf it. My buddy Rich surfs it.
Yeah.
Or used to surf it, but I don't know. I'd rather be on a boogie board.
It's fun. No, by the way, boogie boarding's. I mean, I'm not gonna say when it's shore pound and like it's so much fun. Like just to get sand in your ears and sand open your hair.
Barrels you're not gonna make. There's
no who cares? Like you just have fun. Like just like flip over on your back. Like just have a good time.
All right. So with all those waves, give me your best. Since we're gonna stay in the boogie board, we're gonna go back and forth just for a bit.
Yeah,
your favorite boogie boarding wave.
Oh, it's not even close. Like the wedge was by far my favorite. Okay. Like most fun. Like you could just eat crap, right? And then just you get up laughing, right? Casas in La Jolla is one of my favorite because it's almost like a natural. It's a reef break, but it actually produces its own wedge, and you backdoor this whole section, and you just get spat like so hard. Makeable. It's makeable, and it's like it's a awesome wave. It's really fun. And then obviously Marine Street in La Jolla, horseshoes. I used to love going down to La Jolla just because all the different waves that are there, Big Rock. All that stuff. So yeah, bodyboarding, like there's tons of fun waves around here.
So your favorite is
the wedge for sure.
The wedge, okay. Yeah. Favorite stand-up wave?
Yeah, like for me, like Sumbawa, like Lakey Peak in Sumbawa is my favorite wave.
Oh, okay.
By far, it's not even close.
Just ripple. I've never been there, so I don't know.
It's like lowers on steroids, basically.
Really?
Like it's got the left is really rippable. It's got a backdoor. You can backdoor this little barrel section if you take off toward the right peak, and it's just this. It's the most fun I've ever had on a wave. Like it's amazing.
Give me. We're gonna go. I'm gonna skip over and we'll go backwards to the other thing. But a good surf trip. Where was your favorite surf trip since you've been around a couple places?
The people New Zealand for sure.
Rad.
I've lived in New Zealand twice.
Okay.
And
For how long?
4 months and 6 months.
Okay.
And I love it. The people are like the best people ever. But
Water always cold?
No, it's like here. It's just like it's a little bit more wet in the wintertime, and like you kind of go through longer lulls of like wind. But yeah, like when Raglan's firing or like shipwrecks or something like that. Shipwrecks I think is actually a better wave than that, and it's way longer too.
Really?
But yeah, there's fun way. There's a killer beach break right behind Raglan actually. That is this killer. It's so good. This is like 8-foot A-frames, just all the way down the beach.
And crowded or uncrowded?
No, nothing in New Zealand. I mean, Raglan's a little bit crowded, but I mean, compared to here, it's laughable. There's a couple really good waves in Taranaki region where there was like 10 guys out. Okay. And everyone's like, man, it's really busy out here. And I'm just like, yeah, for sure. And but no, you just get wave after wave after wave, and the people are just super nice, and like as long as you don't, just keep your, you have respect, but you don't travel somewhere and you just don't burn people, like like
and there's only 10 guys out, there's no reason.
Yeah, there's no reason to burn anybody, and like not only that, but like everyone's so cool and they're just stoked to see you, and you're like just because you're from another country, so.
And they like Americans.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not, they always make fun of Americans, like we're arrogant and like, oh, those guys are arrogant assholes, and like, but you're cool.
Have you seen that Raglan Surf Report guy? So funny.
No, I've
Google it after this.
Okay, I'll have to Google it.
Okay. And then favorite, so that was your favorite people location. What about favorite wave?
Oh, Indo. Like, it's not even close. I've been to Indo 4 times, and I've just never been skunked. Like, it's just so reliable. It's like clockwork. Like, you can go, you'll get great waves
so
no matter what.
Every penny?
Oh, it's worth. It's like it's so ridiculously cheap when you get there. Like I would go there, stay for a month, and I would run into guys like Derek Bockelman and Ian Statzer, like Oceanside guys, Zach Reinhardt. I ran into so many people there. Like I didn't know they were going, but you're a pal out and you're all, oh, I'm in Oceanside all of a sudden. Like it's crazy, but it's so fun.
That's rad. Okay, what about talking? Let's talk some of the contests. So you've run several different series here in San Diego and probably North Orange County. Where else have you run? So you run the San Diego Surf Series? Yeah,
the Amslam Surf Series for San Diego. Yep.
Okay, and then back in the day you ran a couple other
we did events. The Revolt Surf Series. And then, I did a No Fear's Coastal Chaos Surf Series. That was back in 06, 07. But yes, just...
How did you get into that?
I have no idea.
Oh, really?
No, I mean, I have an idea, but it was really... I used to be part of Christian Surfers.
Okay, CSF?
Yeah, CSF, exactly. So John Lindsley was like a really instrumental part of my life. Like he ran Christian Surfers in Oceanside. And
and I've surfed those contests before.
Yeah. And
super fun. I was bummed when they moved up north.
Yeah, I know. It's
different now, but
it is different. Yeah, and but John Lindsley is like the coolest guy ever. He would take me on surf trips everywhere.
Oh, okay, so you're good friends.
Yeah, and he actually sold me all of his stuff. Actually, he stopped doing contests and he sold me all of his gear. Yeah, it's like been such a good like mentor, like great guy in my life, and like super stoked that I know him. So when I was my first contest I ever ran, I just like the Calvary Chapel I was going to at the time, was North Coast Calvary. Okay. Like one of the members was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a little church contest," and I was like, and he's like, "I don't know how to do any of these heats," and like I was doing NSSAs for bodyboarding at the time.
Okay.
And then when I started surfing, I started to do NSSAs in surfing too.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of had I just remembered how they ran, and I was like, "Oh, okay, you just here's your heat sheet, here's your progressions." And everyone's like, "What?" Like blown away, like it was some magical formula, I'm like, I don't know, I guess it's hard, but not really. Yeah. But yeah, like for me, it just came natural. Like for me, like as a person, when people aren't sure what to do, like I'm always that guy that just goes, "Yeah, I'll just do it." Like, yeah, I just don't think about things. I'm like, "Oh."
So you just took over on accident.
Kinda, and then they just basically gave me the responsibility of running the whole contest at that point. So that was 2002. 2002ish, 2001ish, something like that.
So 20 years ago, really.
Right, and then after that, like I kind of knew how to do it, and then my friend who was shaping my surfboards at the time, his name is Mike Zastapil, and really good friend, and like I was getting boards from him, and he was running the La Jolla Firehouse YMCA surf contest.
Okay.
So this guy, Mark Cater, had done it years before him, and he moved on to actually run the original version of Am-Slam years ago. This is back in the mid 2000s. So he took it over, and then he was like, hey, can you come judge? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I judged, and then for me, I'm always like, hey, why don't you try this? Or, so I just started giving him ideas and like how to like run the contest.
Okay.
And so eventually, the following year, he's just like, hey, I can't do it anymore. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, no, sure, why not? So
Okay.
I just eventually took that over.
So you took it over. So here's a question. You don't have to answer this, but if you don't want, did you do it for the love of it, or did you do it because you wanted to make a couple bucks?
No, I was just there basically,
Yeah.
and I just kind of had a thing and I knew how to do it, so it was just.
So you were like a volunteer, really.
Yeah, it was just it was natural for me just to do it. Like
Okay.
that's how my personality is wired. So I was like, oh, whatever, I'll just take care of it.
Okay.
So I never thought of making money when I did it. I just was like, oh, this is fun,
Right.
for me. And it was a new challenge. Like that for me is like huge. If it's something new and different, like I'm all about doing it.
Okay. Mix up life a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've been painting, and I was like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Like, but I'd rather do something in the surf industry. It's way more fun.
Right.
Yeah, doing construction's great, but yeah, I'd rather be totally enthralled in what I'm doing. And surfing for me at the time, and obviously still is, but that's really what sold me on it. Was like I just wanted to be part of surfing.
Okay. I mean, totally. I kind of what I'm doing here.
Yeah, right.
I
exactly.
mean, I'm stoked to do this because it's kind of a lot of work, but
Yeah, trust me, I know the drill.
Yeah. So some of the contests, you have big names in there. You remember like some of the guys that have surfed some of your contests?
Yeah.
I mean, like WSL, like big
Yeah.
names. Like
No.
renowned names.
That was crazy. I remember that one of the first ones. We have a charity event called the State Beach Classic that we do
Yep.
for like Carlsbad guys,
Yeah.
and it's a memorial
Right, you
event.
surfed it.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a memorial
times.
event for banning caps.
Yeah.
And so one year was funny, like Paul
So
Fisher.
local contest.
Yeah, it's totally local, right? So one year, Paul Fisher drives by. Literally, he rode for Reef.
I was there that year.
Yeah, and he just comes down. He's like, "Hey, can I
Second
surf?"
place.
Yeah, and
Brett Riley.
Ben Riley beat him, right?
Yeah.
And
And there was a swell that day.
yeah, it was fun, like super fun. And Paul Fisher just comes down, like.
It's so weird that I just remember that. But
Yes, but yeah, so and I think he knew it was a man-on-man final, and he's like, I don't think I should win this contest. I have a
You
feeling.
think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he said
watched
that.
heat.
He kind of mentioned that. He's like, but at the same time, do I think Brent Riley couldn't beat him at Tamarack? Hell no. I think Brent Riley could totally.
No, I
take him
think
out.
Brett beat him. Straight
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, no, he did.
I don't think Paul.
I don't think he held back in his. I'm going to say this. I
He
don't.
waited
think,
for a set, is what he did.
Yeah, I
He
just
got
think, but
skunked.
he wasn't like going like, oh, I got to win this contest, But yeah, no, Brent Riley deserved to win that contest,
Yeah,
100%.
for sure. I remember. I watched that heat. That was cool. So he was a big name.
Yeah, and then,
now he's huge in music.
Yeah, no, I actually listen to his. I love his music.
Okay.
He's a killer DJ. He's like amazing, and I actually love his music. But yeah, we had Kanoa Igarashi win one of the Am Slams the year before he qualified, and then we had Griffin Colapinto win one the year before he qualified.
Yeah.
We had Nate Yeomans win one,
Okay.
and I literally had never seen to that point someone surf so much better than everyone else.
Than
Nate did on that particular day. He was riding this custom little kind of chubby fish carbon board that Matt Biolis had shaped him.
Okay.
I'd never seen anyone surf so much better than everyone else on a single day than Nate did that one day, and it just sticks in my mind. I mean, it was just domination. Like from the first heat, I'm like, nah, he's gonna win.
Yeah, you knew.
You just knew. Like I mean,
6 a.m.
Yeah.
Already got in the bag.
I think he had the third heat of the morning, and I think he doubled everyone's score, like like everyone else's, like the second place guy's score, and from that point, that's what he did in every heat, and he won. I think he won the heat by.
It was just his day.
Yeah, he was on like 100%.
Was it him or the board or combo?
It was a little bit of both. I mean Nate is obviously
World-class
he's a
surfer.
CT. He's on the CT.
Yeah.
And it was really unfortunate that he qualified on the year that I think they did that mid-season cut, and I think he got cut mid-season, and it was super
that's
unfortunate.
What they used to do half a year.
Exactly. And it was so unfortunate because he's absolutely a WCT caliber surfer.
You brought up a good point. The mid-year. It doesn't seem like WSL. Let's talk smack about WSL for a minute.
Okay.
Do you care?
No, not at all.
You have nothing, no ties to them.
I know it's like yeah.
Do you have ties to WSL?
No.
Okay. I didn't think you did. I'm just saying, dude, they can't get their act together, right?
It's been
They
hard.
change it every couple of years. They change the format. I mean, it's always a 2-man heat. And there's 3. Well, first, anyhow, so do you have any comments on that?
Being a surf, like I'm a surf competition junkie. So
Right,
like,
me too. So I'll turn the TV.
I watch it.
So like pipe or something.
I don't care if they're in Brazil. Like I'll still watch. I don't care. Like
the waves are good.
Yeah, I mean, like
For me.
for me personally, I don't care. The WCT caliber guys, especially
CT guys,
the top 10 guys, I will watch them surf no matter what. Like I just think the quality of surfing is so good. And because not only that, when they surf crap, it reminds me of when I surf out here, how much better they are than I am. And it makes me appreciate it, I guess, a lot more. Like even if I watch them at the U.S. Open and they're just surfing reforms, but they carry so much more speed than the rest of us, that it's just, they are on another level. And they make it look so easy that you go out there going, I can do that.
Right.
No, you can't. I think the CT, like, I think they're constantly making it, trying to be more viewer friendly, if that makes sense. So where
they are,
and they're trying to keep everyone engaged in it, because to be honest with you, if you aren't a surfer, watching surfing on TV sucks.
It does.
Even on the beach, it's boring.
So totally. If you don't surf.
Yeah.
But if you surf, you're wired. You're not wired. That's not the right word. You're hooked.
Yeah.
You're watching. But I would disagree with you that there's a lot of lulls.
Yeah.
Two-man heats suck on TV.
Yeah.
Unless it's like firing and they're just like one after another. So I think they should go to 4-man heats minimum.
Well, I think
the webcast.
Well, I think if you have a priority situation, I don't see a downside in that.
Yeah.
Like, or stick with 3-man heats. You could do 3-man
heats are fine.
Yeah.
I'd run I like the earlier heats in the contest because you got 3 guys surfing.
Yeah.
You're not watching wave after wave go by and no one even paddling for it.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I remember watching.
You're like screaming like you would do anything for the
I think I did that when I think it was Julian and Jordy. They were in the final when they had the finals at Ulu's. I think they canceled Margaret River because there was like a shark scare, and then they ended up holding the contest at Uluwatu. And I remember it was really fun at Ulu's, and they were all like,
that's a rad wave.
And,
but it looks super good.
Yeah, it's a weird wave because it kind of breaks all over the place.
Okay.
But just I was like, look at all these waves just go underneath them, just going, come on,
right?
Yeah, because for an average guy like me, it's like, I mean, those are great waves.
You fly halfway across the world to get those waves.
I did.
Yeah. So okay, so that's, I don't know. This is kind of a messy part, but whatever.
Yeah,
it's a good conversation because I think WCL needs to get their act together, so that when I'm watching TV, I'm not watching 20 minutes with nothing going on.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'll get home from work if it's on a weekday, and I just go through and I do like the heat analyzer.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
And because
but if you watch it live, you want to know what happens.
Yeah, I don't need to listen to Joe Chappelle and Martin Potter like wax intellectual about stuff. Like I just don't.
And they're saying the same thing, heat after heat.
Yeah,
after heat.
even when they commentate, they say the same thing over and over.
And I would disagree with you too on the top 10 guys. They all rip.
Yeah,
all the guys. All the
top
they
guys
do rip.
But
I like to see the wild cards and all those guys because there's a chance they're going to take it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think honestly, like there's a considerable drop off when you start getting toward the back end of the tour. They're all great. They're all great. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that. Like, obviously, like they're way better than I will ever be. I can ever dream of being, right?
Ever
and not that.
Want to be.
And then, like, you watch a guy like Jadson Andre, and you go, oh, whatever. That guy is so much better than you. It's not even funny. Like that guy killed it. Because I'll go out at lowers and watch him all surf, and watching him live when you see 20-foot fans coming off a wave. Because TV doesn't do it justice, ever. Those guys are so fast, and they're so powerful, and they're so good, and they're so smooth. Like, I mean, watching Jordy at Trestles live is it's unbelievable. Like, I've watched so many guys at Trestles, like Andy, Joel, Mick, like just paddling out like around the time that the contest is about to happen. I know I'm not going to get many waves.
Yeah.
But I just love watching it and being
right
there.
Right there.
Right, just watching how they turn, and it makes you surf better. I don't know what it is, but I've never felt like I surf better than I did when I was around those guys.
Sitting next to them?
Yeah, just because you just feel like you have to, first of all, because you don't want to get burned on every way. But not only that, but you get to watch and analyze them firsthand. How do they do that turn? How do they torque? How do they do that downturn? How do they torque their body? How do they bring their body up into the lip? All those things. I watch surfing like that. I love.
You're analyzing it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a student of it for sure. I wish I was better at it. I wish I could show everyone that I actually could turn all this knowledge into actual good surfing. But I love studying it. I love trying. I love trying every time I go out to be better.
Right. Even as you're getting older?
Yeah, I'm 43 now, and I'm still trying to like get boards more refined, do turns better, always like trying to be in the pocket, like always just like right there where I can do like a really good critical turn instead of being out in the shoulder.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think we all are, but I'm getting older, and I feel like parts of my body are starting to pale for sure.
Oh yeah.
Shoulder shot
for sure.
I mean, my leg hurts, but yeah. Okay. So other big names. I remember was Nathan Head surfed.
Yeah.
Once.
That's right.
Once or twice.
I think he did some of the Revolt ones actually. I think
Chris Ward did a Revolt.
Yeah, Chris Ward. No, Chris Ward. Like he did.
Sorry, I went backwards.
Yeah, no. He did some of the Am Slams. He did some of the Revolts. Like it was really cool. Like Chris is such a mellow dude, but he's so freaking good.
Oh, he's so good.
So much fun to watch surf, man.
I'm bringing this up to the point of there's no domestic tour. Like, what can we do to get a domestic tour? And I know we can talk about your contest.
Yeah.
That you wanted to.
No, like I feel like I know guys like Darren Brillhart who runs a lot of the QS events in America.
Okay.
Like I know.
Which is hardly any, by the way.
What's that mean? There's a few. I mean, he's
East Coast, like Virginia Beach.
Yeah, I mean,
where else? West Coast,
well, he does the Jax Pro. He does the the Ruka Pro Junior. He does the one up in no, he doesn't do the one in Pismo. No, he did do the one in Morro Bay. Okay. They just there's people trying to put it together, and I know I've been approached about it.
As a separate entity or as a part of WSL?
No,
we don't know.
As a separate entity.
Okay. Like a full separate tour like the PSA was.
Yeah, and so
I hope they do.
Like it's just I think it's hard because you always like for me like I want to make sure that the surfers get compensated.
Right.
Because there's so many really good surfers that I get to see a lot of.
Yeah.
That like are so good, but they're not sponsored, and they got to work. I mean, they're working.
Right.
Like there's they might have a sticker on their board, but they're not getting paid. They might be getting hooked up, but man,
trunks. They're getting trunks.
Yeah, they're getting wetsuits. They're getting boards. But they're not getting a paycheck.
But they rip so hard.
They're so good. And so for me, to do a pro tour, you got to make it worth their while. They're they got to take a day off their job, which they maybe could have made $200 waiting tables.
Yeah.
And then they got to throw down money for the contest. And it's like you got to make it worthwhile. So for me, it's like that was always a big thing for me. It's like, well, what makes it worth it? A surfer coming and doing our contest, like where's the value for them? Like, hey, I'm gonna throw my $50 in. What am I getting?
Plus $50 in gas if they live in Pismo.
Yeah, not that, but and then not only that, but my big deal now is trying to see how guys aren't losing one heat and then leaving. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You just first round it.
It's a format change.
Oh, absolutely. And so
what's some ideas?
I attempted to do a pro junior with that same concept of doing like golf, where it's almost like you have a cut.
Okay.
And I did an event similar to that back in 2007, and everyone seemed to really enjoy it. And I know people have kind of messed around with it a little bit, but instead you surf twice no matter what.
Okay, cool.
And then they take.
So you weren't eliminated till the second.
Yeah, until to the second go round. So you get 2 surfs, right? 20 minutes each.
Okay.
And we take your
4-man heats.
Top. Yes.
Or 6-man.
4-man.
Okay.
And then we take your top 2 accumulative scores. So you can get sometimes you can either get maybe your first heat you kill it, and you get 2 really good scores, or you can take 1 from each, or you can take 2 from your last.
So if you bog 1 heat, you're not out.
Exactly. Cool. And so just to keep people kind of interested, you know what I mean?
That sounds rad.
That's what I want, engagement. You know what I mean? I feel like there's such a disconnect between the people running the contest and the people doing the contest.
Okay.
I feel like people look at the scaffolding like it's something like they can't be part of. You know what I mean? It's like they're there and we're here, right?
You shouldn't.
And the judges are some weird people you can't talk to, right?
Yeah.
But I've always been of the nature of being really transparent, with the judges talking to the people.
Okay. So you're for it.
I don't care. If a judge can't back up why he gave a score,
right?
Then what is he doing? He shouldn't be judging. You know what I mean? If he has a legitimate reason for giving someone a score that he did based on not just what someone sees, because I think a lot of parents record their kid and then they don't see what's going on around the whole scope of that heat.
Right.
And I think it's easy to get upset based on tunnel vision. I think sometimes
they're focused on their kid.
Right.
They're not watching the kid out the back.
Sure. It's like even
that got a 6 too. They both got a 6. Or no. Right. The one parent thinks the kid should get a 6. Right. But it's really a 4.
Yeah.
But the kid behind it killed it and got a 6.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they're not watching that kid.
Exactly, because you're focusing, like in all this
For
stuff.
sure, know that.
But I mean, and also too, I think it's important to remember the judges aren't perfect too, and
Right.
especially in 6-man heats. Like I've been up there commentating while watching the guys judge 6-man heats while doing live scoring, and that is absolute
so
mayhem.
much work. Yeah.
Like, and so I think we learned a lot from the first season. So AmSlam, we did live scoring with 6-man heats because we just had such a gigantic following, and we didn't know we were going to expand that much. We went up 50 people per day.
Wow.
So that was almost it was almost a 50% rise.
Because it was a mini tour.
Yeah, and it was but it had so many divisions, but we could get through the heats in a day. But I mean, honestly, we were running all the way from 7 all the way till 8 at night.
Yeah, no.
In a day.
I was there.
Because for me, I always told everyone who I run events for, I will never run double event sites.
Okay.
Because I feel like half the kids get a crap experience, and they're paying the same money.
Okay.
They don't get the sole focus of the judges. They got some random offshoot crew over here.
Yeah.
And it's I always feel like I don't want to ever do that.
Okay.
And so that was something that I tell everybody. I'm like, hey, if you want to run an event, this is the way I do. That's the one thing I won't do.
You won't change that.
Yeah, and so 6-man heats is
cool.
sucks, but I tolerate it because it's what else do you do if the demand exceeds what you have the time to run? And so I was really bummed because last year when COVID hit in 2020, for us, San Diego was awesome, and Vans was even more supportive. And we were going to expand to 2-day events with everyone getting 4-man heats. All the Groms, all the pros. The pros get their own day. The Groms get their own day of 4-man, 20-minute heats. Mm-hmm. And so, I was so excited because I feel like kids deserve that. It's I went through the days, in the NSSA where, it was just 6 people. Just go out there and you got 15 minutes and good luck,
Yeah.
And it was a bummer because I hated doing that to other kids because I've been in that situation. I know what that feels like. And if you can't get a waiver, you're just no. And it's hard. It's a grind.
Yeah.
So I think nowadays we have the technology, we have the ability to do it.
Is there enough labor hours, extra judges maybe, or that seems like you guys are pulled thin too. You're doing multiple jobs.
Well, imagine setting up the event. So I would go set up the event. So I would.
You're literally setting up.
Yeah, so putting up scaffolding, the whole everything, all the
doing
tents,
everything.
And then so you get back at the beach. You get off the beach about 7 at night. You go home, finish all the heats. You put everything together, make sure everything's all tight.
You, I didn't get it.
Exactly. All the last minute guys, and I'm like,
which is probably about 30%, I would guess. I don't know. That's my guess.
Well, fortunately, it's nice. When you fill out the event, you go, hey, there's no more room, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
It makes it easier on me. But yeah, so I wake up at 3:30 in the morning and back on the beach at 5.
Oh my god.
And then I have to tear down the scaffolding after 8 o'clock at night. So I work from 5 until about 10, 11 o'clock at night.
You're not making enough money on that thing.
Well, that was 2019, and that was the last year that we did single days. So,
okay.
But some events are nicer. Some people give you a little bit more time. For that instance, for AmSlam, that was it. But there's I do a lot of community events where it's just
you want to talk about those
cities and stuff. Yeah, man. I do a really fun one up at Salt Creek with John Lindsley, and it's run by the Ritz-Carlton. And it's called Surfer. It's for Surfers Healing, which is the Paskowitz family. That's their organization.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that whole event totally goes to, share kids who have autism, share surfing with them.
Okay.
So that's what that whole event does. It kind of feeds that charity, and so it's a great nonprofit. And and then we do the State Beach Classic in Carlsbad. We do a surf for cystic fibrosis down in La Jolla. I do work with the Carlsbad board riders, even though I live in Oceanside now. I did grow up, my whole teenage years, my whole young adult life is all in Carlsbad.
Okay.
So I love being part of that.
So Carlsbad's where you're from.
Yeah, basically.
Carlsbad.
Yeah, I moved to Oceanside, and then when I started school in Magnolia, in elementary, Carlsbad, and then.
I'm not sick.
Mike's got COVID.
I do not want that.
But ever since, gosh, man, I was a little kid and then grew up all through Carlsbad.
Okay. So, let's talk with Carlsbad board riders, Oceanside board riders.
Yeah.
You're not part of those events though, right?
As far as the West Coast board riders,
Yeah.
no, that's all Darren Brillhart. So he does.
So that's cool. You get to go to an event and kick back and relax.
Oh, it's so nice, man. And not only that, but I think
You know how hard they're working.
yeah, I think Darren Brillhart is like he is the best at running events that I've ever met, and like
Okay.
he's such a gracious guy. Like he let me go in and like view things as he ran them, and he let me go
Okay.
up and see how.
Just so you can learn from them?
Yeah, and he was
That's
super
cool.
gracious with his time. I got to go up during one of the Oakley Pro when they had it at Lowers, and then he let me go up during the U.S. Open and see how they ran that. Yeah, it was
Like
just-
he runs the U.S. Open too?
he does all the logistical stuff, like all the
Oh,
beach
okay.
stuff, and
Cool.
running all that stuff.
And he was like a big name, like in Huntington.
Yeah,
Like
no,
pro,
Newport.
like,
Yeah, he was
late
from San
80s.
Juan and like.
Oh,
great-
was he from San Juan?
Yeah.
I thought he was from Huntington.
He made
Okay.
what the quarterfinals of the Lowers Pro that Kelly won back in 1990.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man, he's just a good dude, and I think he does a great job. He really cares. I can tell by what he does. He cares about surfers.
Yeah.
Like that's really what he cares about.
Okay.
And I think that's ultimately, if you're not in it for that, then why? You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, Darren makes money off of it,
Oh,
but,
cool.
but he makes,
Good, he
but he
should.
deserves what he makes. It's like,
I think all you guys are working
yeah,
so
I mean,
hard.
and trust me, like, like I know people talk crap about the NSSAs, but Janice and Galen actually do a great job. And like, I remember being really judgmental of them when I was like, when I wouldn't make a heat, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that guy got pushed, and that's bull crap. But like coming at it I see it from their perspective now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's like that. Like at least as far as I know, I don't ever see that crap happening. And then, but I understand the amount of work that goes into it, and then how much you have to deal with parents, and then how much you have to deal with
it's
angry
brutal.
people yelling at you, and like there's a lot of it that goes into it. And if you don't care about the surfers, number one, like that's the only reason you ever make it. The reason why things don't work out for you if you're trying to do events is because you don't care about the people you're serving.
Okay.
And that's the number one thing you have to do.
So let's go back to West Coast board rider or something. Could they do a tour?
I think that's what their end game is, as far as I know, because they're actually adding clubs on the East Coast, and they just had their first
Oh.
East Coast.
That'd be cool. East Coast, West Coast.
No,
best of. And then
their goal ultimately is to cover the whole U.S., like Hawaii, like Texas, like everywhere.
And they do all age brackets.
Yep.
So you got everyone involved.
Yep. No, and I think when I first saw it, I was like, the light went off in my head. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I think I watched some video clips of like an event they did in Salt Creek, and nobody down here had was part of it yet. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to Darren, and he kind of told me who to get in contact with the original guys. And we went to a meeting Ulysses Thomas, who I run the State Beach Classic with. We went up to Huntington and sat in on a meeting and figured out how Seal Beach board riders did it, how Huntington, Newport, Dana Point, Laguna, how they all did it. And like, so they were great. Like Seal Beach was awesome because the guy who ran it, he had all of his stuff together. So he just showed me how he did it. Okay. And it was
Who was
so.
that? You remember?
I don't. Okay. I'm super bummed too because I really wish I remember. He's a great guy, but I just remember how much that light went off when I saw it. I'm like, cities versus cities. I'm like, that is
like Australia does the same.
Yeah, exactly. Board riders.
They have like clubhouses, I believe.
They do. They do. And like,
so how rad would that be? Like, get a yacht club, but for surfing.
Well, it's funny because like I've been trying to like I really want to see where the power plant's being torn down now in Carlsbad by Warm Waters. Yeah. They're talking about possibly making a park there. It's about getting a clubhouse for the Carlsbad board riders.
That's
right there.
Oceanside does the same thing.
Yeah.
Somehow, somewhere.
Exactly. I mean, down by the pier, like that old little recreation hall. There's got to be something there, right?
I think everyone would hang too.
Right.
Everyone would be a member, even if you're not that great of a surfer.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You're part of the club.
Yeah.
You pay your dues.
Well, I think nowadays.
Literally pay your dues.
Yeah, I mean, I think nowadays, like, I think localism is not really as existent as it used to be. I mean, as far as like people getting beat up and like,
St. Oxnard, 1980.
Yeah, I mean, even when I was like around like in the 90s, like, I mean, I saw people get slapped out of State Beach and slapped out of Warm Waters, like people
just because they didn't live there.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, dude, you're out. Like, I mean, I heard it was even worse in the 80s, and I wasn't around back then, but I saw it happen plenty of times.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's...
Literally, they pull up, they want to surf, and they get kicked.
Yeah, or they'd be out in the water, and they just go, out of here, dude. Like just point to the beach. And, but that's when I think, Carlsbad, Oceanside, and, like, I think back then, like, everyone was kind of like, hey, you're from Oceanside, or you're from Carlsbad, and it was a little bit different, and, like, and you're from Encinitas. And we all viewed each other differently, right?
Okay.
And now I think everyone's kind of buddies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Carlsbad guys go to Oceanside, Oceanside goes to Carlsbad, but we all know each other. It's like, if Chris Abad comes out and paddles out at Warm Waters, no one's going to kick him out, right? Everyone's like, hey, what's up, Chris? Or like John Daniels paddles out. We all know John. And the same thing, vice versa. Like if I paddle out at the pier, I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Like no one's, it's
as long as you're respectful. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Like no one, I'm not going to go paddle out like and start snaking guys on the north side of the pier on a south swell. It's like, why would it, like, it's stupid, right? Like it's dumb. Like I'm not going to try to burn guys.
If you get beat up, it's for snaking them.
Exactly.
It's not because you're from Carlsbad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But localism's different now. I think it's what's nice now. Instead of old guys yelling at the kids, it's all of us old guys actually helping the kids now. And I think that's.
I agree. I've had this talk. Depends on how you guys describe the situation. My mind changes.
Yeah.
So I'm all over the board.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be kicked out of the water by any means because you live a quarter mile down the beach.
It's kind of, I would always roll my eyes at it, right? I'd be like, yeah, I mean, sure, whatever, man. Like, yeah, like, it just was weird, like, so for me, like, for me personally, like, I don't, like, for me, surfing is a youth sport. And for me, like, I know I'm an old timer. Yeah. I'm 43. Yeah. And it's like, I'm not going anywhere. But like, we have this influx of great kids in Carlsbad right now that are ripping.
Yeah.
And so for me, like whatever I can do to help them make it, or just like they're not all gonna make it, like or like they're not all gonna be pros, right? But but
some of those kids that could be pros, there's no circuit for them. There's nothing.
I know. Those kids are so hungry right now. They just want something, like so especially for it's been a year and a half. Like,
let's go backwards. Like, where's pro surfing going?
Like,
what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, ultimately, like, you have to think about where can it go. I mean, I think having Pat O'Connell, like, as part of, like, the WSL is a good thing because I think he has the surfer's ear. Mm-hmm. And I think he can...
Because he was there.
Exactly. And he can explain things to them and he can take the advice from the surfers and try to sort out stuff. But I think that's the reason why things are always changing because the surfers will go through that particular, like, model that they're running for heats and go, hey man, I don't know if this is working, and then they kind of take in consensus and they're trying to work with the surfers to make the format better. Okay, good. And I think that's kind of why things constantly change, because if you have a voice like Kelly Slater's talking to you, a guy who legitimately thinks about these things a lot and like puts a lot of thought, he doesn't sit there and go, oh, this is stupid, change it. I think he does put a lot of thought into things. So I think it's good to have you should be listening to your competitors. Like, you should be. Okay. If something's wrong, you should fix it. And I think that makes you better. Like, I think a lot of times if you aren't willing to take criticism and change, you become dead. Like, you have to change with the times. And like, and if things are,
times are changing.
Yeah.
Always. Really.
Yeah. If your clients, which are the surfers, if they're telling you, hey, this sucks, man. Yeah, can we do something else? And then you got to look at it and go, well, okay, what can we do?
So I guess, what about sponsorship with all these big companies? They're not stepping up like they used to because they're not run by surfers anymore, right?
Right. They're
all Volcom's owned by Gucci, I think.
Yeah. Rip Curl's owned by Kathmandu.
Yeah. So like, where does that leave the surfers?
That's a very good question. I mean, well, who are they sponsored by now? Like, people are getting sponsored by Lululemon.
Good. I guess.
I mean, which is cool, right? I mean, I would love to get $200 pants for free.
Yeah.
But
they're not a surf company. So there's that thing. Surfers always stuck with surfers.
Right. And I think ultimately, and I knew
is
this.
Home Depot going to start sponsoring? I mean,
well, I think ultimately that's, if people want to make money at this, like that, well, look at what they did with the X Games. I mean, the Navy sponsored it. I mean, like Edge, like whatever Edge razors, like they sponsored the X Games.
Well, it makes sense. A razor would make sense for surfers.
Yeah, I mean, well, everything does. Coffee does, like banks. Yeah. We all need to do something, right? We all need to have a bank account. Like I've always believed 100% that really the non-endemic sponsors are really the way to go, which is like sponsors who aren't part of the industry. Because ultimately, like the surf industry, there's not a lot of money in it. Like, if you're going into the surf industry, you think you're going to get rich. Like, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah, and you got to bro everyone out.
Yeah.
Those days are kind of gone.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. But, it's like, I don't know. Like, I ultimately think surfers have to be okay with the fact that the sponsorships just aren't going to be core anymore. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
they got to accept it.
Well, I mean, if they want to get paid.
Yeah, no.
I mean, but that's always a value proposition that you have to do.
I guarantee you they'll take the paycheck every day. Most.
Well, I mean, ultimately, do you really, like, if you're a surfer in a contest, do you really care who the money comes from as long as it comes? Like, I don't think so. You know, if U.S. Bank decided they wanted to sponsor my contest, I'd be like, yeah, like,
Please.
where do I sign? Like, where? Like, but yeah, because ultimately, like, I know that the U.S. Bank isn't going to tell me how to run the contest.
They don't even have a clue how to.
Exactly.
So they're actually, it gives you better leverage because you know what you're doing.
Exactly. And you don't have people telling you how to do it, and they're
so
like,
have
hey,
you reached out to outside sponsors, or is that just a whole job in itself? To do
like
that?
I honestly, like, I've never been a salesperson. Yeah. It's just never been my thing. Like,
so you need to actually have a separate guy that can do that.
Probably like, yeah, someone who's got the gift of gab. It's not my gift. It's just not my thing. I'm saying,
hey, how do you market that?
I don't know.
Yeah. So
I've always been. I
wasn't planning on having this conversation.
No worries. But like infrastructure's always been my thing. So like I like the build outs. I like the running of it.
Okay.
I like seeing all the surfers. I love watching this. Like watching surfing to me is like my favorite thing.
So that's at the end of the day, you want guys out there ripping, having fun,
yes,
and making a couple bucks.
Exactly. That's ultimately that. Like just being like okay, like being paid for my time. Like I like doing it. Like this year has been great because I've only had one job, and it's like I know surf events haven't gone on for the last year, and to be honest with you, it was a nice break because like I was doing that job. I did like in 2019 I ran 16 events.
That's brutal.
And I had a full-time job.
Yeah, full-time job.
So like my family was like, hey, we're here.
Come on down to the event.
Yeah, I know. Like, which they do sometimes.
Yeah.
For the most part, they know. Like, it's just when you run an event, like.
But you're too busy. You can't even hang out with them.
Well, when you run an event, you're putting out about 20 fires a day, and like from things not working to the announcer having to go on a pee break to this guy didn't advance in the right heat, and then he's got back-to-back heats because he's in two divisions. You got to switch that up. And so you're running so many different things, like your day just flies by.
I'm so bummed. I had a great question. I lost it in that talk. But you did bring something else that I was wondering. Different divisions. How about everyone's riding different kind of boards now?
Sure.
Could we change the divisions up to I know the CSF because
they're the fish one.
They're the fish one, and actually I borrowed John's board one time. When I didn't know the guy, he's like, it was like $20 extra for another division. Yep. He's like, borrow my fish. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So I surfed it, and then, but anyhow, what would you do? How could you do that to add different divisions? And what are the rules? Like the boards are so wonky and weird and different nowadays.
Well, it's
not
really,
wonky is not the right word.
So there is an event that happens up at Salt Creek called the Cosmic Creek, right?
Yeah,
so that's another one of the Umbrella Hearts events.
And then they do one up in. They started with like when I was a teenager. I think it was like the '70s in Surfside. They do a '70s event. You have to have a '70s board.
Yeah. And I think there's room for all that stuff. Like me personally, like I like watching performance surfing. So for me, like
you want shortboard.
That's what I like watching personally. So for me, like that's what I like. Like I'm not big into longboarding. I think it's great, but I've never liked it. I do ride little chubby thrusters. I've never been a twin fin guy. I've ridden them. I've been riding one that David Barr shaped, and that one's so much fun.
Okay.
But it's more like a shortboard anyway. That's the reason I like it. But I think to be honest with you, I think it would be fun. I'm all about it. Like I love running different kinds of funky events. Like, because I like the challenge of it. It's like, well, hey, let's do something. Like I like the challenge of doing something different.
Right.
So like if people will go like, hey, let's run like one where it's all fishes and like or like 70s boards and single fins and but running it at a point break, like that would be epic.
Oh my god,
like running at churches. Yeah, they were running at churches or something like that, right? Yeah. And those places are generally harder to get like permits for, but if you can figure it out, then sweet. Like I'm all about that stuff.
Okay. I just thought like there's so many different boards and everyone's experimenting.
Oh yeah, no, I mean if I got on one of those single fins that have like those big wide noses and their tails are like that big.
I have one.
I know. Everyone's got one, right?
I got one from like the 70s.
Yeah. No, I have one hiding in my friend's grandparents' house. But I mean, I can't surf on them. Like I know some guys are really good on them.
So you got pros that are just killing it, doing 5 turns, but they'll still kill it. I think.
Yeah.
I think that a good surfer's a good surfer.
Yeah, good surfers. I mean, remember, I don't know if you remember the old video of Kelly and Rob surfing a door.
Vaguely, I do. What movie is that?
It was old. I forget. Was it Seaside? I think Taylor Steele just filmed them like doing and like they're still
what you
good.
guys can do, kind of thing.
And like they're better than all of us.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the thing. They make it look easy, like we can do it, but we can't do it because that's their magic. They make it look like it's doable.
Yeah. And they're so talented.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I could do one turn like Taylor Knox, I'd be happy.
Okay, so I'm touched on pretty much everything I wanted to know. Board riders. So what are you riding right now? Let's go back to Phil.
Yeah, so my boards, my friend Mike Abishon, he used to be a ghost shaper for Timmy Patterson.
Okay.
And we ride. He started making these little 5'9" chubby boards that are like kind of like just the bottom contour is like massive. There's a lot of rocker in it, but it's like wide tail, double bump thumb tail, thruster setup. But it rides like when you're riding crappy mushy waves. Okay. It just has so much flow and like flat section like this. Like it's so great just to smoothly go through fat sections.
So that's your everyday board, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like when it's like. It actually surfs with it all up to about head high.
Okay.
And if it's head high and kind of fat, like high tide, it's perfect. Like I have a 6'2" from him as well that I've been riding. Actually, he shaped me a brand new one. And I literally second session, I snapped the nose off of it. Ooh. And so it's getting fixed. And I've surfed a whole whopping 2 sessions on it. So I'm running an old board of his right now. But it works great when the waves are good, like when that whole run is swell. I surfed swamis on it. It rode so good.
How was that day?
It was every day. I mean, it's always adventurous. I mean, obviously, Swamis is weird because if it's under double overhead, it's a little bit harder to get waves because everyone's riding those 7.4s that are like those big long boards now, right? Yeah. They aren't fun boards, but they're like those old retro boards, and they're like 4 inches thick, so you can just basically just like do one paddle. Yeah. And you can just
they're
get
not
away.
A long board. They're like the mid-length, they're calling them.
Yeah, it's like it's not quite a fun board. It's like an old retro single fin, but everyone in Cardiff is riding those now, right? They're the new Elias or whatever. But so it's a little harder to get waves, but yeah, like if you can get into a good one, and once it's double overhead out there, like most guys, like a lot of the beginners that surf out there, like they don't want to pick up on,
they're sitting up.
You just kind of sit under the hook on a short board and you get good waves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't sit around and go to like one spot. Like I'd rather if the waves are good in La Jolla, I'll go to La Jolla.
You literally live 1 block from the beach here.
Yeah.
2 blocks.
So, but I don't have like a lot of time to devote to surfing anymore. Like between family and a full-time job, and especially in the wintertime, it's really, really hard to find time to go surf. So I have to know, I have to just be like, okay, I'm going to go here at 5:30 in the morning, and then I have an hour and a half to surf. So
no matter what it's like.
Yeah, and you just go, okay, I'm going. So hopefully it lines up with the swell, and the tides are decent, and the winds are decent, and there's no like storm surf or whatever going on. But yeah, that's like the life of a 40-year-old surfer, right? Like, got the kids and the family, and you're just like, all right, if I can get out today, I'm stoked.
I mean, there's a lot of you I just surf just to get wet.
No, that's where my life is now. Like, I don't care about like being like, I just kind of accept the fact I'm never going to be a great surfer. I can just not be a kook. I'll be happy. Yeah. And just smile because I go out and because I'm not that, but I'm not aggro anymore. It's just I'm just happy to get waves and just be in the ocean.
So what about your 10-year-old daughter? Is she surfing? Is she into it?
She loves the water, but. That's it. she's not into surfing.
She's super young still.
No, but she's like, hey, Dad, I don't want to go surfing, and like I'd rather just not try, and I'd rather just enjoy being at the beach. I'm like, cool, whatever. Like I just want her to understand like what the ocean feels like, and just be part of it, and like she that part she does love. So like that's what I'm fine with.
She likes the Southern California beach lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So like for me, like I'm more than happy just to have a girl that loves.
So do you guys have weekends on the beach as a family?
Oh yeah, no, my wife actually grew up. Both of her older brothers surfed, so her dad surfed, and so she would get roped out. So she's like, she does it every once in a while. She doesn't surf, but she'll be like, hey, do you want to go surf? And like I'm like, oh yeah, like let's go. So we'll grab a couple longboards and we'll just hang out together and go surf. So it's still like that whole thing in our life is like it's still the water is like I can't live without the water. That's the one thing I've learned. I get grumpy. She knows. She's like, I think you should.
Edgy.
Yeah, I think she's like, I think you should go surfing. Like, you should get out of the house. So she knows.
I think most of the world doesn't understand that. I feel the same way.
No.
If you don't surf, you don't understand that.
No. But it's a weird transition when you get into middle age and you have responsibility because when you're a young surfer, everything revolves around surfing, right?
Yeah. Like you're ditching school, you're doing...
you don't care. You're like, just get me wet. Like, that's all I care about.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was totally like that. In my 20s, all I did was work to save enough money to travel somewhere. And that's all I did. And so, just wherever I decided I wanted to go, I'd just go, okay, I'm going to Mexico, I'm going to Brazil.
But you would never change that, right?
I'm sorry?
You wouldn't have changed that today.
No.
Looking back, you're glad you did it.
Well, like I see all these kids like doing contests all the time, and they never travel. They never leave California. I'm like, dude, go get out of here. Yeah, but I'm gonna do contests during the summer. I'm like, dude, summer's the time for you to get out of America. Because for me, traveling made me like just me really appreciate living in America because you see how everyone else lives in this world, and it's not like here. Yeah. And people whine about their cell phones. They whine about like everything else, like, oh, I didn't get a new car, I don't have enough stuff. And it's like, dude, these people live in a village and they wear the same shirt every day of their life. And they don't have running water and they sleep on dirt.
And you witness it firsthand.
Yeah, and but that's the reason why you need to travel. It's like, the waves are good, but like to be part to not only that, but to help other people in the community. Yeah, like dude, you help them get water. Like you give them all your shirts and all your shorts, and you're like, here, take it. And like if you break a board, you leave it there, and then they fix it, and you'll see it the next time. I literally have seen my own board at Lakey Peak after I left it there.
Really, that's rad.
Yeah, because they fixed it, and some Grom had it.
Cool.
And it was like, it's awesome. Like, so you're part of that ecosystem, and that's I think every kid who surfs needs to travel. They need to travel.
Yeah.
Because that is a big part of surf lifestyle. And like, it's hard to transition out of it when you get older because surfing is so all encompassing that you feel like you're an addict getting off a drug, because when you get older and you can't surf as much, it's hard. It's like you get these withdrawals and you're like,
I totally get it.
I feel like that when I'm grumpy and edgy. It's totally like some alcoholic getting off like booze or something.
So I thought of a question as you were telling me that. So you're talking about different cultures, different villages
where
there's dirt poor, and you're like in the village with them. So what about nowadays? They have these surf camps. You don't get to see that stuff.
No.
So they're taking these Americans and they're busting them to the beach, and then you're in this little gated community. You're not seeing really what's going on right outside those gates.
Yeah, I think
it's sad, right?
But it's interesting. So like with G-Land, like they set up a bunch of big camps and stuff. But to be honest with you, the guys, those guys who are working for those camps are making more money than they would ever even know what to. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. But like a lot of them do trade, but the guys building the huts and like doing all this stuff, like they're
making a fortune in
like,
their neighbor.
Yeah, like the average person in Bali makes like $8 a day.
Wow.
Like, and that's on Bali, which is like the most busy tourist island in the whole Indonesia, like archipelago. But like these people don't make any money, so for them,
so the surfers
bring in the
dough.
like when you hook them up, like if you give them like $10 or whatever for this or that, they're like.
So you're okay with the surf camps too?
I mean, it is like it's kind of like, but have adventure. Like when you're a kid, have adventure. Mm-hmm. Like go with your friends when you're in your 20s. Like you're a man. You should go do things on your own.
I agree.
And I understand, like if you have money and you can take your kid to Kandui Villas, like knock yourself out. But when I went, it was like I stayed in a $9 a night hotel in Kuta. And then I got a moped and drove out to Ulus and then just hung out there all day. And then I took some random boat trip out to Desert Point, and the boat ride was so gnarly. And then but you went over to Sumbawa but you did all these things on your own. You figured it out. You didn't know the language. You didn't know what rupiah were. Like you're just like, okay, well I think I'm gonna go I'm gonna take a flight from Bali over to Sumbawa, but you figured it all out.
And you're here today.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Like you didn't die.
Exactly, but a lot of people are so scared to kind of do things, and like for me, like traveling was like I still love traveling. I think my friend and I are going back to Indo next year, so it's been like 12 years since I've been, so it's been a long time. So
maybe you'll see your board there.
I hope so. I hope so.
So do you bring your boards and leave them there on purpose, or do you do clothing or what?
Like anything I could leave behind. I bring
go there with that plan.
I bring extra. Like the first time I went, I didn't know that, right? Yeah. So you learn all this stuff as you go, and then you learn what you don't need, but you do need, and then you're like, all right, cool. Anything that breaks, if I don't think I'm going to use my step up tube ride board, which I'm probably not going to over here. Just leave it. Like some other kid's gonna be stoked on it. Like if I don't need, and then I started packing extra clothes to pad my boards,
Yeah.
But then I just use all those clothes to just give away to kids around the ferries and
awesome.
Villages. So, but yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like as much as I love competitive surfing, I would be more than happy just to travel and surf. Like either one's totally fine with me.
Yeah, cool. So anybody young enough in their 20s or earlier listening to this, take Phil's advice. I really would. I didn't do that. I was, but I think you're right on to something. You got any future boards you're thinking about ordering? Or change it up a little bit?
Yeah, no, I've actually been demoing a ton of Channel Islands boards and Lost boards. My friend Ben, he's part of the Carlsbad Board Riders. He works for Lost, so he was nice enough to let me demo some of their demo boards. And I just realized why people ride Mayhems. They are really, really good boards. They're amazing. They put you in positions on waves that you feel like you're a pro. They only work when you you're trying to surf more professionally, which is top to bottom, like right in the pocket when you're doing your bottom turns, like around the barrel, like coming up into that hook.
All right.
Vertically, like it wants you to do that. And then when you do a turn up in there, it recovers with speed. And I'm like, it was mind blowing, like how different those boards were, because I never rode one before. I always got local boards, and then I think I rode a Fever at Lowers, a 60 Fever that I just demoed. I grabbed from Surf Ride one day, and they were demoing boards, and I just took it, and I realized how great the rail transitions were. Like they never bog. Like they just when I took away
a lot of flow.
Exactly, just so that all the rail transfers, like when you're doing roundhouses and bottom turns and top turns, like everything just flows into another board, into another turn.
Yeah.
And it's just like I was like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm missing. So I think I'm going to save up and just be like, okay, I'm just going to bear down
off the
and
rack?
spend the No, I'm going to custom order one, but
Okay.
I'm going to spend the stupid $800.
Yeah, but
I can't wrap my head around. I know.
You're serving better and you have more fun.
But it's hard. I mean, for me, like,
That's
that's a lot of money. Like I'm not rich. I mean, like I don't own a tech company. Like I don't, I'm not some internet guy. Like I don't work on computers, so I'm not rich. And like so, throwing down $800 for a board is still pretty gnarly.
So we talked a lot about contests. At the end of the day, today, where does Phil think the future of contests is going?
I think it's going to be probably a blend between like even video. Like I think a lot of video contests. Like as we saw the Vans Triple Crown go virtual this year.
Yeah.
But I think in the interim, like I think companies from outside of surfing are going to have to get involved if it's going to survive. Because like these parent companies of all these other clothing companies that we grew up with,
Right.
they aren't going to support it.
No.
Because budget wise, they don't see the numbers to back with the money they're putting into it, right?
Right.
So I think ultimately, unless companies outside of surfing really give back to surfing itself, it's really going to be tough for it to survive. But ultimately, I think we're going to start coming up with different formats. Like I think that the 4-man heat with the priority is great.
Okay.
But I think there's got to be a better way to do it. And I know, like, you're thinking of fitting as many guys into a contest as possible. Like, they're like, hey, we got to get to 152 guys. Okay, this is the easiest way to do it in 3 days.
Or they pay the money and just do an extra day or two.
Yeah, no, I mean, but and again, like at premier surf spots, it's really hard to get permits.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's this constant balance that we're trying to run in California. It's not easy to do that.
Yeah, you get scummed too. You got a certain
and
dates
it's expensive. Like when you start going into churches and lowers and there's a lot of ways where you just can't run contests. The locals are like, no.
Yeah.
So there's a balance between all these things that like every event coordinator has to figure out. Like I have to figure out what's going on with the WSA, this USA Surfing Prime, the NSSA, the Pro Tour.
Are you doing that so you can get a better draw?
Well, you're constantly trying not to step on other people's toes, and it's like, and like honestly, look, WSA and NSSA, they can do whatever they want. What they do is different. They're feeding the USA Surfing. What I do is like, I don't want to be them.
Yeah.
I want to have fun.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be boring and dry and like the announcer just going, you need a 6, 7, 5, and 4.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I've never wanted that because I've always thought like when you go to a contest on the beach, it's so boring. Like I want lively commentary. I want loud music.
You don't want pumped up.
I want fun. Like I just want people to be engaged when they're there. Like
and even so if you want to swing by and see what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I want to do giveaways. We do games on the beach. We do relay races. Like we do stuff to keep people like interested.
So Vulcan, we used to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that's why their events were great.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden they're gone.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, you
So
get to, they made themselves so big so fast. They're giving away jet skis and
it was so
hundreds
sick.
I know.
It was
and like
so fun.
because they got it. Have fun. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they only in their qualifiers they would take one wave, right? And you only get one wave. 10 minute heat.
10 minute heats.
Yeah.
It wasn't their fault.
And no, just so many people wanted to do that,
and it was free.
Exactly. So like I remember I surfed in them.
Yeah.
And like, because hell yeah, I wanted to like I want to make the final. Like I want to go to 54th Street.
And they get big names, but anyhow.
Yeah.
So that's your future is.
I just think more.
Pump it up, have fun.
Absolutely, just have fun, change formats. Like, don't be scared to do things differently. It doesn't always have to be status quo. It doesn't always have to be about how much money can we make, because I feel like other events are always trying to squeeze as many people. I understand the demand is high.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, let's accommodate all these people who want to be part of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's inclusive, and that's good. But at the same time, like I think there's got to be a balance between like giving the people a good experience versus just saying, here's your heat, see you later.
Yep.
You know, like where do we find that? And I think that's always my quest is like how do we bridge a gap? Like how do we make it fun even if you lose your first heat? Like how can we get you to surf again? Like how can we do other things to keep you there? Because ultimately that's my goal.
Okay, so what can we look for you in your surf contest and after COVID's?
No, right? Well, one of these
Are
days,
you gonna be the guy changing up how you're talking?
No, I mean,
I think your events are fun, by the way.
Yeah,
funner than NSSA any day.
Yeah, thank you. And that's something we really
from a parent's perspective,
right? And I think ultimately that's a big part of what we try to do is like to be different and like understand that we don't have to be that way. But I think in the future, obviously, like I was saying, like we want to go into 2-day events. We want to give more time. And I think time is something that we can afford the surfers, number one. Number two is give them multiple chances to surf.
Okay.
I think those are two things we can
It'd be
definitely
awesome
work on.
to see a different format.
Yeah, man, I just, like, why not? Like, why not try something different? It's not going to kill anybody.
No.
If people go, I don't like it, you go, okay, well, what do we want? And that's another thing I really try to communicate with surfers and say, hey, does this work?
But no one's always happy. There's always a complainer out there.
No. And there's some people I listen to, there's some people I don't. Like if someone comes up to me and complains about something and I've never heard them complain once,
yeah, you're gonna listen.
Then I'm a little bit more prone to be like, okay, like I get you. Like you've been here for a while, you've seen everything happen. I get you. But there's always people who complain about everything, and you're just like, well, that's what you do. So, which is fine, It's like, but you deal a lot. But that's the thing with everything. For whatever you do, there'll be always someone who doesn't like it, and there'll always be someone who does.
And they don't have to show up. They don't like it.
Exactly. But it's always my goal to make sure just everyone has a good experience, because I can't guarantee the waves. I can't guarantee you're going to make your heat.
No.
I can't guarantee you're going to win. But what I can guarantee is that when you come here, you're going to feel like you got your money's worth. And I feel like if you got that,
I love that.
Then sweet. Like that's all I really give a shit about.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, they had fun Yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Any final words? We're going to wrap this interview up. And thank you so much, Phil, for joining me.
No, I'm just... Hey,
and we're
man.
at Phil's house on this, rad house on the lagoon. Or should I say that? I can do
I know, right? Like, just don't give out the address. No, it's a secret compound. No one can know about it. No, I would just say for kids, for young kids surfing, just honestly, just have fun, enjoy it. Like, don't stress. Like, I think a lot of kids stress and they're worried about sponsorship and all this other crap.
Yeah.
Surfing is ultimately never about that. It's about being with your friends, having fun, giving each other shit, and just making fun of each other, razzing each other about how you missed that turn and how you bogged your rail. And then hooting your friends on when they're in the barrel. That's what surfing is to me.
Not pulling your hair out.
No. Never.
Yeah.
And not freaking out. Trust me, I was there. I was a teenager and I used to be super bummed when I lost heats, and I totally get it. And I've been there. And then for grown-ups, man, just like that transition is hard, and I know it, but I know so many guys who quit surfing, and they're you see them later and they're just all just blown out, drinking too much beer, and they're trying to replace that feeling, with stuff that's not surfing, and surfing's always going to be there, and
so they replaced with unhealthy habits.
Yeah, and it's just keep with it, man. Surfing's worth it.
Yeah,
it always is worth it when you paddle out. I don't care if it's shitty.
Or if you're not as good as you used to be.
No, it's still worth it. But that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing, man. I don't like the fact that I'm older now and I'm not as good as I was in my 30s.
I'm like half as good as I was.
Yeah,
maybe on a good day.
Yeah, but that's the thing I like. I don't mind that young surfers are taking over the lineup, man. I'd rather watch them surf than watch myself surf anyway. And I know people have trust me. I get it. A lot of people don't agree with that. With my take.
I love the kids in the water, but yeah.
I get it. I know sometimes it can be a little bit.
It gets a little rough out there sometimes.
Yeah, I know, and I think it's just we all want to get.
Now.
Yeah, we all want to get waves, right? So, but yeah, for the old guys, just enjoy it. Enjoy the groms who rip, and just try to help them out as best you can. They do need to give respect, and if they need to be checked a little bit, that's all right. But ultimately, our goal as older surfers in our community is ultimately to make our surf community better.
Okay.
And that's my strong belief personally. But is I want to see the kids in Carlsbad be as the best they can be, and like
And Oceanside too.
And by the way, no,
Just kidding.
I love Oceanside. I love to be honest with you, the waves are way better in Oceanside,
Yeah,
so I'd
for the
rather be
most part.
surfing here. But yeah, for all the grounds, like I really want that to be a big. I love the fact that Oceanside, Carlsbad, Encinitas, that La Jolla, like
They're
we
all
all
hunting
have
each
clubs.
other.
No, but we all have clubs now, and like it's so
Yeah.
great. We have a place where we can all get together, talk shit,
smack, yeah.
and then night up, and then compete and
Yeah.
see who's better.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
like so for me, like I love it. So like for the old guys, just help out the grums. Like for the grums, just have fun. That's
All
it.
right. Thanks, Phil, again for joining us here at the Quivercast. Hey, check out my Instagram. It's quiver_cast. And when you surf when your contest is back up and running, we'll
Yeah,
make an
so you can
ad.
always check out coastalchaosproductions.com.
Okay.
So it's
Is that-
KOASTALKAOS productions.com.
And then is that your Instagram too?
Yep, Coastal Chaos Productions. Yep. So
Okay.
you can follow me on Instagram there too. But yeah, I always post stuff about there, and then I haven't updated the website in a while just because I don't have any events going on. But
Right.
as soon as it gets back going, I will definitely update all that stuff.
And I hope I didn't interrupt that. Say it one more time.
So coastalchaosproductions.com, or you can go on my Instagram at Coastal Chaos Productions.
Rad, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining us this week. If you like the episode, hit subscribe, give us 5 stars, or leave a review. Like us on Instagram, quiver_cast. Music's brought to you by Sal Pedroza. Thanks, Sal. Have a good week. I'll see you all on the water. Later. Hey, you guys. Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic. Numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You will literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. There's so much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.